The story begins in the eastern suburbs, within the Forest of Giants. A system notification indicates the recommended level for this area is from level 10 to level 35, with a difficulty rating of 3 stars. Heavy rainfall has fostered the growth of colossal trees, and timber along with enormous fruits serve as the primary source of income for local residents. However, deep within the forest, mysterious activities unfold. Amidst these towering trees, a massive, wounded monster, missing one arm but wielding a huge weapon with the other, bellows, "How dare you challenge me?" A young swordsman, Lu Ren, stands before the giant and responds calmly, "Why should I fear you? Attack me if you dare." Although exhausted, Lu Ren is prepared to stake everything on this encounter. The system announces a battle between Lu Ren and the elite boss, the one-armed Ammon. The monster swings his mighty weapon, proclaiming Lu Ren's imminent death. Recognizing the signature move, Lu Ren draws his katana, fully aware of the devastating force about to be unleashed. Ammon strikes the ground with immense power, but Lu Ren dodges using his fast movement skill, increasing his speed by 30% for 5 seconds. With incredible agility, he leaps and delivers a powerful strike to Ammon's neck, using his sword cleave skill. The system notifies that Lu Ren has defeated the elite boss, Ammon. As a reward, Lu Ren receives a level 15 boss sword meant for swordsmen. It boosts his strength by 100 points, attack by 80 points, critical hit by 12 points, and reduces her level requirements by 5. He marvels at his fortune, realizing the weapon will ensure his dominance in ranking and combat power. Suddenly, a small elf assistant appears, congratulating him on his acquisition. She informs him of a time-limited task and points to the system window, which reveals the task's objective: defeat the elite boss, the Bloody Traveler, within 30 minutes to obtain rare weapons and valuable combat experience. Lu Ren, eager to test his new sword, sets off toward the target. The map shows many players moving toward the boss, but Lu Ren is determined to reach him first. As he advances through the dense forest, a massive explosion of energy rocks the area, startling birds from the treetops. Lu Ren races toward the source, speculating that it might be a powerful weapon, potentially worth thousands if sold. When he reaches the clearing, he's stunned by the sight. The ground is littered with a multitude of weapons. Amidst his awe, a sinister laugh echoes from behind him. A skeleton warrior, hidden in the shadows, swiftly strikes Lu Ren in the neck, killing him instantly. His weapon drops from his inventory, leaving Lu Ren furious. The skeleton ignores him and continues its rampage, with the system notifying that the task of the Bloody Traveler is still in progress. A large crowd of players rushes through the forest toward the clearing, hoping to defeat the boss and claim the scattered weapons. The skeleton warrior, armed with 2 bright red blades, slays several warriors effortlessly. A powerful fighter charges in, attempting to defeat the skeleton with blue, energy-infused gloves, but the skeleton dodges and defeats him with a single blow. The remaining players realize the gravity of the situation and rally together, forming a plan to take down the boss. Archers and mages attack from afar, while shield-bearers and swordsmen engage the skeleton directly. Despite their efforts, the skeleton's speed and skill prove overwhelming. It tears through the group, breaking their weapons and scattering them in terror. As the skeleton slaughters his foes with relentless precision, the system reveals he has defeated his 404th enemy. Standing among the corpses, the skeleton remarks coldly, "Still too few," before vanishing into the shadows. The battle for the Forest of Giants is far from over. Luli stood in front of the man sitting in his office, listening as he expressed his disappointment. The man, speaking with authority, told Luli that with his abilities, he could have easily become a shareholder in Destiny, their company. His future was limitless. Yet he had chosen to pursue the investigation into the disappearance, damaging the company's reputation and interests. His voice rose as he informed Luli that the board had voted, and he was now fired. Did he have anything to say? Luli, his expression calm, replied that he had nothing more to add. In the system window, his name was listed. Luli, 26 years old, 183 centimeters tall, the former director of game R&D at Destiny, lead analyst, and master of science in computer science. With nothing left to discuss, he left the office, resigning himself to the reality. He told himself there was nothing he could do but quit. As Luli walked away, the man sighed, lamenting the waste of such talent. He called out to his secretary, Wang, asking her to find a replacement. If she couldn't, they'd have to add 20 million to L's salary to fill the gap. He called her name several times, but she didn't respond. Frustrated, he asked aloud who he was even talking to. Wang, standing tiredly nearby, thought about how she had chosen this job just to see Luli every day. Now that he was leaving, it would be time for her to retire. She wondered what the old man really wanted from her as he continued to speak loudly. Outside, Luli held a photograph in his hand, silently contemplating it. In his mind, he told his older brother that he finally had a clue about his disappearance. As he crossed a bridge towards the city, he promised himself that he would find the truth. Later, Luli stopped, confused, looking out at the city and wondering where he even lived. It had been 2 years since he had been home, consumed by work, and his topographical ketones made it hard to distinguish directions. He sighed, lost in thought. Some time later, Luli witnessed a girl angrily breaking up with a guy, yelling that she was done with him. She accused him of having 68 contacts on WeChat, all labeled treasure, despite calling her his only treasure. The guy chased after her, insisting he could explain. She didn't listen and stormed off, declaring that they were over. As they ran past Luli, wiping his tears, he was startled to see him. "Brother!" he exclaimed, embarrassed. Luli, slightly amused, said he had come at the wrong time. Dismissed it, telling him he always had time for him. Before Luli could ask about the fight, they brushed it off, calling it nonsense and predicting everything would return to normal in 2 days. He invited Luli inside, offering him a drink. As Luli sat down, he noticed the girl's underwear on the sofa and advised A to be more mindful of his personal life. A flustered agreed. He asked Luli to stay with him for a couple more days. Luli considered it and said maybe he would. Overjoyed, he suggested they go for a barbecue or a massage. However, Luli interrupted, stating he had found a clue regarding their elder brother's disappearance. A's face grew serious, and he revealed that the equipment for Destiny's new game, False Moon, was ready. The game would officially launch at midnight. Luli nodded, convinced that the disappearance was linked to the game, and knew he needed to act. Later that night, the alarm clock rang. Luli, dressed in a new suit, sat across from A. Both held helmets in their hands, and after a nod, they put them on. The system greeted Luli, confirming his identity and asking if he was ready to enter the game. He agreed, and the system welcomed him to the world of False Moon. An elf assistant appeared, introducing herself as SS and informing him that the game would begin soon. As the game loaded, Luli admired the seamless integration of neural connections and the realistic atmosphere. He entered Newcomer's Village in Modland, surrounded by other players. A system window informed him that he was at level 1, with no class and his attributes displayed. A, accompanied by a girl named Amy, waved energetically at Luli, inviting him to join their mission. Luli declined, stating they had different paths to follow. Confused, he asked what he meant, but Luli was already walking away. He called out to SS, who appeared instantly by his side. Luli asked her to open the special redemption code. The system window appeared, and Luli entered a long password he had once created. The system confirmed the password was correct, and he successfully accessed his unread messages. Luli knew that the answers he sought were waiting for him, and this game would bring him closer to the truth behind his brother's disappearance. The elf asked the owner, "What kind of system alerts are these?" "She can't identify it." Luli, with a calm expression, looks at the system window and says it's a third-party program he created. The elf, surprised, warns him, "If it's a third-party program, you must stop using the plugins or your account will be blocked forever." Loi dismisses the concern, stating that the program is hidden within the base code, and finding it manually would take at least 6 months. The system window reveals an item, the Bracelet of Omniscience, level 10, universal. which increases strength, intelligence, agility, endurance, resistance, and charm by 5 points. The bracelet levels up with the hero, improving every 10 levels with a chance to gain a random professional skill. Luli tells SS to help him hide the bracelet, as it's too conspicuous, and he prefers discretion. The elf admires the beauty of the bracelet, but agrees to conceal it. Luli opens the next system notification, Book of Random Achievements. The book generates an achievement task every 10th level, with random rewards for completion. A hidden attribute is unknown. Luli glances at the book and remarks that he only entered instructions for the powerful props, while the rest are randomly generated by artificial intelligence. The elf finds the prop interesting. The next system notification reveals an invitation letter from Shura, which Luli considers the most important item. After 2 years of playing Destiny, he finally obtained it. Luli remembers his brother receiving the same letter during beta testing, believing it holds the key to his brother's disappearance. He opens the scroll, reading its cryptic message, "Without fear, follow your heart and find yourself. Those against you will be killed, and no one can stop you." The system notifies him that accepting the letter will change his profession to Aura and launch a new storyline. Luli accepts the offer, his expression serious. Suddenly, an intense pain strikes his chest, and Luli grabs at it, only to be transported to an unknown space. Surrounded by skeletons in black robes, they stab him with bright red daggers, leaving him bewildered and in pain. He begins to lose consciousness, wondering what's happening. The system notifies that his character is dead, with an error. Characters in this area cannot be attacked. A restart fails, leaving Luli trapped in a space filled with system windows. Confused, Luli tries to exit the game, but the system alerts him that quitting is impossible due to an error. The source code is undiscovered. Panicked, Luli questions how this could happen and demands the system respond. He finds himself underground, pulling out of the earth as a skeleton. A system window confirms he is now level 1, without a class. Luli, now a broken skeleton warrior, wonders how he became a skeleton and what place he's in. A nearby monster with a staff summons a servant, and Luli, amused, thinks the summoning was successful. The system reveals the epic boss Zhan, a level 30 summoned of the undead, with abilities such as hellish chains, corroding fire, and summoning the undead. Luli, realizing Zhan is an NPC, tries to talk to him. Zhan, surprised by Luli's speech, suspects he has summoned a rare-level skeleton. Luli, noting the lack of response, decides to search elsewhere for answers. Angry, Zhan wonders why Luli didn't kneel and immediately casts infernal chains, summoning chains that bind Luli. Confused, Luli asks, "What are you doing?" Zhan laughs and replies, "Teaching you to be an obedient dog." Chained, Luli remarks that he's only level 1 with no skills, questioning the logic of the plot. Suddenly, a massive explosion destroys Zhan and the chains, throwing Luli into a tombstone. Dazed, Luli sees a massive monster in front of him, the Great Sorrow, and exclaims, "This thing is huge. Did I mess up the map?" An elf appears, informing Luli that he's in the lands of pitch darkness, home to high-level bosses in False Moon, the most dangerous area. She also reveals that Luli has acquired a new outfit. When Luli asks if completing the task is possible, the elf confirms and suggests a point 100 kilometers away for completion. Embarrassed, Luli crawls along a mountain filled with dragons, asking for a normal path. The elf informs him that the shortest route is 400 kilometers long. As Luli struggles to escape from monsters, he asks for background music to lighten the mood. The elf informs Luli that user A has reached level 5 after washing 20 wild boars. Luli congratulates him, but it questions Luli's low level and accuses him of secretly cultivating. Luli, still at level 1, refuses to answer, saying he's tired of fighting monsters. A, dissatisfied, leaves to attend to other matters. Luli, pursued by a monster, runs while feeling unwell. The elf alerts him that they've reached their destination, an abandoned city. Luli, seeing a crowd at the gate, asks if he needs to wait in line. The elf estimates it will take about 2 hours. Spotting an empty entrance, Luli rushes toward it, determined to enter the city, despite the elf's protests. At the entrance, Luli encounters 2 large monsters guarding a mysterious place. Surprisingly, they let him in without resistance, laughing as they do. Luli thanks them, asking if they'll watch him die, which they humorously agree to. Finally, Luli is informed that his registration time for the fun platform has expired. A monster guard warns him that winning in fun brings wealth, but losing leads to mortal torture. As Luli walks through a corridor, another monster reveals his level 1 status, further questioning if Luli is truly ready for what's ahead. Luli walks along a long corridor, thinking he has finally reached the right place. As he reaches the end, someone exclaims in surprise, pointing at him and saying that the last member has arrived. A monster in a suit comments on Luli's low level, mocking him for being only level 1. The other creatures in the room laugh, asking if he's fearless or foolish. They wonder if he came for a fight or a show, boasting that they could crush him with a finger. The monsters in the arena smile at him, and one wearing glasses remarks that this is just canon. Despite the mockery, he hopes something interesting will happen and asks for silence as they prepare for the upcoming battle. The audience erupts in loud cheers as the monster with the microphone announces the start of the battle. He introduces Quick Rabbit as the commentator for the event. Quick repeats the rules for newcomers, explaining the competition is duel mode. The one who reaches the end wins. To ensure fairness, everyone's level is adjusted to match the lowest participant's level, not below level 10. He mentions that skills and equipment can be used, and the platform will provide the necessary adjustments. If an opponent doesn't admit defeat, killing them is also a valid win condition. The winner will receive 5,000 experience points and an epic weapon. Quick announces the level adjustment, mentioning that it has dropped to the lowest in history. The monsters, now at level 10, complain that their powerful skills are gone, leaving only 2 basic abilities. One monster threatens to break all of Luli's bones if they cross paths, confident that combat experience will make up for any level equalization. Luli, having been raised to level 10, regrets his earlier decisions. The system notifies him to choose a class, and after pondering, Luli opts for the killer class. His attributes appear: Strength and Agility 60, Intelligence 45, Endurance 30, Resistance 10, Charm 8. He is a broken skeleton warrior. Quick asks if the contestants are adapting to their new levels, warning them that time waits for no one. Weapons are distributed, and Luli receives sharp daggers. He inspects them, thinking they look good. If he can't win, he'll simply admit defeat and move on. Quick then introduces the highlight of the competition, the special guests, starting with Master Zhan Yue from the Blood Moon Hall. Zhan Yue's followers cheer, hoping to be noticed by the master. On the opposite side sits Master Wu, renowned for her mental strength and harsh training conditions. Despite her beauty, Wu's reputation for ruthlessness precedes her, and the crowd murmurs about her deadly temper. Luli hears the name Hamia and realizes it's his brother's name, believing Wu may know something about him. As Wu catches him staring, she wonders if Luli has a death wish. Quick loudly announces the start of the battle. He introduces the first fighter, Bloodclaw, a fearsome wild lion from the Bloodlive clan, known for his overwhelming power. Next is Bei, a zombie swordsman from the Great Sword Society, famous for his fast, merciless sword techniques. The third contender is Ji, a devil with 2 blades from the wilderness. Quick turns his attention to Luli, who surprises everyone by defeating his opponent. The crowd is stunned. Did anyone see how he won? Quick calls him cannon fodder, but it seems the next round will be even more exciting. The system shows the next fight: cannon fodder versus Ji. Ji stands before Luli, urging him to surrender, saying he won't kill a weakling like him. Luli remains calm, not responding. As the tension builds, a fireball spell hits a large monster nearby, drawing attention. A smug fighter, Amy, and a girl next to him remark on how easily they destroyed all the goblins in the area. Amy proudly boasts that his brother is even stronger, and he hints that when they meet him, they'll understand just how strong he truly is. Ji stands still, watching Loi silently walk toward him. Quick glances at them and remarks that their cannon fodder seems cold-blooded. Ji, unfazed, points his sword at Loi. He believes Loi missed his only chance to survive. Confident, Ji swings his sword and releases his energy, declaring Loi's death will be painless. Ji quickly strikes, and Quick, surprised, exclaims that Ji's technique is so fast it's impossible to follow. Even more surprising, Loi dodges the blow. Zhu, watching, claims it was just luck. Ji tries again, striking hard with his energy, but Loi dodges once more. Quick is stunned, shouting that Loi managed to evade again. Ji, frustrated, swings harder, telling Loi to stop dodging. He releases more energy, but Loi jumps and avoids the strike again. Quick is bewildered, wondering how Loi keeps evading the attacks. Meanwhile, Loi calculates his enemy's reach. 80 centimeters arm length, 100 centimeters sword blade, and 20 centimeters handle, making the total strike length 200 centimeters. As long as he keeps a safe distance beyond that, he's fine. Loi knows he must stay alert for throwing weapons or ranged attacks. With a half-second swing speed and acceleration up to 160 kilometers per hour, Loi's reactions allow him to dodge. Now it's time for Loi's move, a critical strike that could win him the battle. The crowd jeers at Zhu, taunting him for struggling against a first-level opponent. Furious, Zhu leaps high, preparing for an instant powerful strike. Loi calmly calculates. Move 80 centimeters to the left, bend 60 centimeters, and activate his critical strike. He dodges perfectly and counters with his daggers, landing a devastating blow. Ji, shocked, falls to the ground, bleeding, wondering how he could die without becoming a ruler. Loi, silent and composed, walks away, daggers in hand. Quick, still astonished, declares the battle over. The cannon fodder has won. He wonders aloud what secrets Loi is hiding. Zhan Yue watches Loi and comments on how interesting he is, but Wu shrugs, saying Loi is just using his brain. It's nothing special. At least it wasn't boring. She adds, relieved Loi survived. Zhan Yue agrees but calls him low-level trash. Quick interrupts, announcing the next battle. Bloody Claw, from the Bloody Lion clan, against the zombie swordsman, Bai. The crowd buzzes with excitement. As the match begins, Bloody Claw smirks and taunts Bai, who responds humbly, saying he's not as good as Bloody Claw, but will fight on as long as he has his sword. Bai uses his water technique and rushes toward Bloody Claw, moving faster than expected. Quick is stunned by Bai's speed, thinking Bloody Claw might be in trouble. However, Bloody Claw calmly bites Bai's sword, stopping the attack. Quick can't believe it. Bloody Claw, gathering energy in his hands, unleashes his powerful claw attack, striking Bai with 2 simultaneous blows, defeating him instantly. Bloody Claw stands over Bai's fallen body, sighs and smiles, disappointed that Bai turned out to be weaker than expected. Quick, overjoyed, declares Bloody Claw the Fun Ion champion, as the crowd cheers for him. Zhan Yue praises Bloody Claw's strength and pure bloodline, but Waya mocks him for caring about such things. Luli, watching from the sidelines, is amazed by Bloody Claw's power. He crushed an individual weapon with his teeth, which is no small feat even though the level is reduced to 10. Bloody Claw's base power is clearly far beyond average. Blood Claw turns to Luli and taunts him, calling him a mistake of nature. He releases a powerful aura and challenges Luli, daring him to fight. With a wicked grin, he asks if Luli has the courage to face him. Luli assesses his opponent and realizes that if only he had analyzed things earlier, his chances of winning might have been higher. But there's still a way to victory. He just needs to win. Quick calls for the cannon fodder and acknowledges that second place is still a good result. Wyu, observing, thinks if Luli doesn't step up, it'll be a complete disappointment. Luli looks at his opponent with determination. How can he hope to find his brother if he gives up at the slightest difficulty? His brothers are more important to him than life itself. With renewed resolve, he steps into the arena as the final battle is announced. The lion and the bloody tiger versus the cannon fodder. The lion laughs, mocking Luli for choosing to fight a superior opponent. "I'll just think of you as dessert before my victory," he taunts. Luli, unfazed, asks, "Are you going to fight, or just talk?" He rushes toward his opponent. Bloody Claw calmly stands still, dismissing Luli's speed as too slow. He swings his paw, but Luli leaps over him, landing behind. Bloody Claw turns, narrowly dodging a dagger strike. Luli spins midair and lands on his feet. Bloody Claw realizes Luli's speed is better than he assumed. Perhaps he was underestimating his opponent, but still believes Luli is weak. In response, Bloody Claw releases a powerful energy stream, but Luli dodges, leaping back several meters. He knows his opponent is stronger and more skilled, but speed alone won't be enough for victory. Bloody Claw notices blood dripping from his face. Angered that he didn't notice being injured, especially in front of witnesses, he's humiliated. He vows to end Luli in the most ignominious way possible. The system notifies Bloody Claw that his passive energy, Bloody Battle, has activated, increasing his critical strike chance by 20% for 5 seconds. As Bloody Claw approaches, Quick, observing, is surprised that this cannon fodder can hold his own. Yue comments on the unexpected turn of events, considering Luli's lower rank. The further the battle progresses, the more interesting it becomes. Bloody Claw charges, mocking Luli's speed. Both fighters exchange rapid blows, and Bloody Claw swings his paw, but Luli blocks it with his daggers. The impact throws Luli back, sliding across the floor. Despite his effort, he loses his balance. Bloody Claw leaps toward him, charging energy into his claws, declaring that Luli won't dodge this time. Luli remains calm. He activates his backstab skill, teleporting behind Bloody Claw and preparing a strike. Releasing a red energy, he knows Bloody Claw won't turn around in time. Bloody Claw chuckles, acknowledging Luli's attempt but claiming it won't matter. The system announces Bloody Lion's Fury, and Bloody Claw releases a scream that paralyzes all enemies within a 5-meter radius for 1.5 seconds. Luli, frozen, realizes he can't move. Quick exclaims that the exclusive skill, Blood Fury, has finally been unleashed. Zhan Yue observes, praising Bloody Claw's remarkable skill for his age, but Yue warns that overconfidence could lead to his downfall. Bloody Claw strikes Luli with immense force, sending him flying back and severing his arm in the process. Luli, in pain, tries to stay on his feet, clutching his shoulder. As he struggles, his leg cracks under the pressure, causing him to fall. Quick feels sorry for Luli, commenting that with his arm and leg gone, the battle's outcome seems inevitable. Bloody Claw, laughing loudly, taunts Luli, saying that even if the competition ends, he won't let him go. He plans to continue playing with him until he dies, to entertain the crowd. "Maybe they'll remember you for 2 days, he sneers. Luli looks at him with a very serious expression, thinking how quickly things can change. The fish will soon swallow the bait. Bloody Claw slowly walks toward him, a wide smile on his face, and asks, "What would be better for them to play? Maybe break him one bone after another, although that's too banal. Rip his head off and kick it like a ball? Now that sounds more interesting. Of course it will hurt." Sitting on the floor, Luli calculates that he is only 3 steps away from Bloody Claw. Bloody Claw continues his slow advance, saying, "You shouldn't be silent. At least say a few words. It ruins my whole mood." He steps on a severed leg and mockingly asks Luli to forgive him for what he just did. A bright glow appears in Luli's eyes, and he knows the time is right. He suddenly stands and throws his dagger with force at his opponent. At the same time, his severed hand on the floor begins to move. While Luli leaps forward on one leg, his hand throws a dagger at Bloody Claw. With a slight motion, Bloody Claw deflects the front-flying dagger and grins. "This is what I need. Now I'm having fun. You're resisting." The line in front of Bloody Claw's face begins to fade as Luli activates his backstab skill. He grabs the dagger his hand had thrown and strikes unexpectedly, catching Bloody Claw by surprise. Luli delivers a powerful blow to the lion's back, and blood pours from the wound. Bloody Claw coughs up blood, confused by what just happened. The Bloody Claw collapses, bleeding profusely, as Luli stands behind him on one leg. Wu and Zhan Yue, shocked by the sudden turn of events, stand in stunned silence along with the rest of the arena. Quick, astonished, exclaims, "What was that?" At that moment, Quick's partner removes his glasses and loosens his tie, emitting a powerful aura. He shouts, "This is wonderful. It's been ages since I've seen such an amazing killing match." The angry turtle commentator begins analyzing the entire match. He recalls how Luli showcased his speed advantage from the start, provoking Bloody Claw in a losing balance, luring him into using his final trump card. The most shocking revelation is that Luli himself severed his arm and leg. In what appeared to be a hopeless situation, Luli exploited a unique trait of the skeleton's body. Severed bones remained connected to their owner's spirit for a brief time. Thus, what seemed like a desperate fight culminated in a masterful victory for Luli. The turtle commentator, pointing at Luli, asks, "Did I get everything right?" At the same moment, Luli prepares to deliver the final blow to the crawling, begging Bloody Claw, who pleads for his life, claiming he cannot die this way. Zhan Yue, watching intently, suddenly steps into the arena. With a strong surge of energy, he forcefully throws Luli away from the near-defeated Bloody Claw. Releasing immense energy from his hand, Zhan Yue glares at Luli, energy swirling fiercely around him. Powerful currents of air engulf Luli, tearing apart his body. As all that remains is Luli's skull, he wonders what went wrong, thinking he was so close to victory. Wu Yu suddenly appears in the arena, catching Luli's skull and dispelling Zhan Yue's energy. She focuses powerful energy on her fingertip, casting the Sky Barrier spell, and releases a black-red ball of immense destructive power, obliterating a section of the arena. Zhan Yue, slightly hurt by the spell, shouts, demanding to know if Wu Yu was trying to kill him. He senses that something deeper is happening. Calling her name again, he receives no response. Instead, Wu Yu heals Luli with her magic, his body beginning to regenerate. Touching his skull, she declares that Luli now belongs to her. She fully restores his body, sending a stream of energy through him, ensuring his complete recovery. Luli, watching all this unfold, stares at his hands in disbelief. His body sends a flow of energy into his body and says that this should help him recover. Luli looks at his hands and thinks that his bones have not only recovered, but are also stronger than they were before. Wu again concentrates the black-red energy on the tip of his finger and asks, "Where is this rabbit and turtle? If they don't announce the result, she will tear off all their limbs." The turtle crawled out of his shell and said loudly that they were here. Quick hides behind him and says that he must say this as quickly as possible. The turtle says that the persecuted hero dared to devour the sun. They were witnessing a new rising star. They congratulate the new champion of the Fungon competition. The system notifies that the reward for victory is being calculated. He receives 5,000 experience points and learns a new skill, Dark Step. Agility increased by 20%. L-Stats window says that he is level 15, Assassin class. Attributes: Strength 75 points, Intelligence 62 points, Agility 100 points, Endurance 37 points, Resistance 15 points, Charm 10 points. Achievements: Winter Fenin, Broken Skeleton Warrior. The system notifies that his reward is a dagger of the 15th level, a bleeding blade with spikes. Luli immediately received his 2 daggers and thinks that this is a good win. In the system window, it is written that his weapon is a bleeding blade with spikes, required to wear level 15, only for killers. Strength 100 points, attack 80 points, damage 20 points, attack speed 15 points. Feature: 10% of the damage dealt is converted into his own blood. The turtle looks at this and says that this attribute in itself is very good. Quick agrees with him and says that this is very suitable for battles of attrition. Combat endurance will be very useful in the next battles. Wu turns around and says that his injuries have been healed and his reward has been received. They should start Funin G quickly. Ellie looks at her and asks, "What is this?" Quick says that this is his first time taking part, so he may not know something. Funin is divided into 2 parts. The first is the battle in the ring. After this, the champion is allowed to participate in the second part, Fun Uni. In the window, the system says Fun Uni rules. The champion of the first stage will appear in the game world for a limited time. His task, in order to survive, is to hunt as many players as possible and kill them in order to gain his own experience and contribution points. Points can be used for mutual transactions to purchase skills and weapons, and this can also be used for movement. Zhan Yue loudly calls out to Wu and says that this is not the end. She openly attacked the Lord. Does she really want to declare war? She will sue her. She is wasting resources aimlessly. Her ambitions will destroy her. They want to get rid of him because he wants all the resources in his hands. She shouldn't ignore him. Wu is very angry about what he said and says that it is time for him to rest. Zhan Yue asks, "What did she just say?" She raises her voice and says, "He should stop being so shameless. He might be punished for interrupting Fungon. Does he want to save someone? He must have just noticed that guy from the Bloodline family a long time ago. He clings to every little thing and also dares to throw mud at her." Zhan Yue gets very angry and is about to say something, but Wu loudly asks, "What does he want to say about her?" If he wants, he can believe it or he may not believe it, but when he goes to fight, his salary and rations will be cut. They won't even give you weapons. Luli runs away from them and asks, "They won't start fighting, will they?" Quick, who is running next to him and his partner, says that if they have a fight, then half of the residents may suffer because of it. Li says they should get him out of here quickly. Wu looked at him very angrily and said that he should not disgrace her. He may not even think about returning unless he kills at least 1,000 people. Luli at this time runs into the portal that opened in this arena. The system notifies you that the Book of Random Achievements item has been activated. The Master's level was discovered to be above level 10. A random task is generated for it. The teleportation was successful. The countdown began. The code name of the operation was Bloody Traveler. Luli, who found himself in the forest after entering the portal, looks at the book and says that he had almost forgotten about it. The system notifies that a random task has been generated. He must complete the task of Wu, kill 1,000 players. Execution time within the framework of fine action. Please note if this battle ends without the quest being completed, the quest will be invalid forever. The system notifies that the game Bloody Traveler will begin very soon. All players must prepare for this. The inscription Bloody Traveler appeared above Luli's head, and above several guys in front of him. It was written that they were from a gang of bald men with knives. Aegon of the 13th level, AC of the 15th level, AF of the 17th level, a Cho of the 14th level. The system notifies that the Omniscient Bracelet has detected an increase in the character's level. Skills are improving. His characteristics: strength, intelligence, agility, endurance, resistance, and charm are increased by 5 points. The current quality of equipment is average. Every time a character increases its level by 10, the quality of attributes will improve. Equipment activation skills will be played out randomly each time equipment is upgraded. A new skill can be acquired. Random skills are distributed. One of the bald guys strikes quickly with his knife, but Luli easily dodges this attack. The system notifies that he has acquired the Enemy Hunter Blade skill. He has access to a very fast 4-hit attack. Physical damage is 110%, 120%, 130%, and 150%. It should continue to strike and will automatically be able to attack enemy targets within 10 m. Passive skill. For each kill of an enemy, physical damage will increase by 150%. Louis defeats the 4 guys very quickly and thinks that the damage from his blow increases depending on the number of attacks. As long as he reduces the opponent's blood volume and then uses the trick again, he uses the Hunter Blade skill on enemies and does a lot of quick strikes on the bald guys. His combo is 16 hits. Luli releases a very strong energy and thinks that then everything will be much easier. He heard someone's voice asking where the boss is. His face immediately became very serious, and he looks at the people in front of him. Sometime later, Luli defeats a large group of monsters, and the system notifies that he has made 56 kills out of 1,000. After some time, he defeats another group of people, and the system notifies that he has made 156 kills out of 1,000. He continued to defeat large groups of enemies and achieved 314 kills. After that, El sat on a branch of a tall tree and thinks that he has dealt with almost everyone in this area. Players get in his way less and less often. It's time to go somewhere else. He is sorry because there is no way to pick up the weapon. It turns out that it is a waste. At the same moment, he notices Lu Ren, who saw a lot of weapons in the clearing, and with a joyful expression on his face says that he will get rich. It will all belong to him. He goes to this weapon and says that this is a script for a real protagonist. Luli stood on a branch and looks at Lu Ren, who is not paying attention to him. He very quickly ran next to him and defeated him with one blow of his dagger. El Ren was very embarrassed by what happened and asked, "What was that? Did they really defeat him? He is the strongest hero. There must be something wrong with the system. All his equipment and money will disappear." Luli silently walks away from him in the other direction and thinks that this guy talks too much. Sometime later, a large crowd runs towards him and loudly asks, "Where is the boss now? There are so many weapons here. He will be the one to defeat this boss. They will get rich." After this, Luli runs through the crowd of people with great speed and defeats them all with blows of his dagger. He puts his daggers behind his back and says that 444 kills is too few. However, this talkative guy reminded him of something. He presses the button that says Notebook. Luli wrote the coordinates of the Forest of Giants, that he should come here faster, or writes that he received it. Why shouldn't he become his kept woman? Is it his weapon or his clothes? Or did he prepare equipment for him? Sometime later, he comes to the right place that they wrote to him about and sees a huge amount of weapons sticking out of the ground. He was very confused by what he saw and said that it was amazing. After some time in the forest, where very strong energy emanates, which frightened the birds in a large radius, the girl defeated the huge monster. The system congratulates her on the fact that she successfully killed the 15th level monster, the giant warrior Kijang. In the system window, it says that this is Luna, level 18, swordsman class. Attributes: strength, intelligence, agility, endurance, resistance, and charm 60 points. Achievement: Shining Star. This title can be obtained by reaching the top 100 in the region in terms of combat power. In the system window, it is written that she received a Heart of Resistance. The level 15 is required to wear it. Universal for all classes. Strength is 100 points. All characteristics are increased by 10 points. Feature: when attacking, there is a 20% chance to increase resistance by 20 points. Luna walks slowly next to the man, who claims to be the leader of Jai Zhang's team. She doesn't answer him, and with a swift blow of her sword, cuts off his head. With a calm expression, she asks if he has seen enough. Luli immediately jumps off the tree branch and lands in front of her. Luna looks at him, wondering if he is the boss and if he wants to fight her. The gang will soon return to take revenge. This boss is very militant. Luli gazes at her seriously and wonders if she was able to detect him. The cost of killing her is too high. It's not worth it. They both realize they must start this battle and rush towards each other. However, before they can act, members of the Zhang gang arrive, shouting that this is the girl who killed their brother. Luna notices them and thinks they arrived quickly. Luli turns around and sees the boss's attack team approaching. The followers shout that the boss is here and must be captured soon. Luna and Luli quickly move away from the crowd and glance at each other. They run past each other swiftly, doing nothing as Luli leaps over the crowd of Jai Zhang members. The gang members question what flew past them and if it's the boss. They decide to leave him alone for now, as they are gathered to avenge their brother. Luna escapes through the boss's attack team, and as she passes, people comment that she's no slouch and has decided to team up with them. The group is surprised and outraged by the situation. One of the Jai Zhang members loudly declares they must not let the girl escape. A man from the boss's attack team shouts that the boss ran in a different direction and needs to be caught. Two groups of armed players charge at each other, shouting loudly. They collide, causing confusion. One of them remarks that they need to get out of the way and catch the girl. They mustn't obstruct the boss's path. Someone steps on another's foot, leading to a scuffle. A voice calls for respect, and urges them not to fight among themselves. Meanwhile, Luli and Luna race towards each other again, both swinging their weapons. As they prepare to strike, one of the men notices them and shouts loudly to alert the others. Luli rushes through the crowd, delivering quick strikes, while Luna unleashes her magic with equally devastating force. After the battle, Luna, who had logged out of the game, is seen sitting in a wheelchair next to an elderly woman, gazing out of the window. The old woman informs her that her master and his wife have invited her to dinner, but Luna, with a virtual reality helmet resting on her lap, says she is not hungry. She sits at a table with her cat, deep in thought, and writes in a notebook. The words she writes include references to family, Zoe, Ghost Moon strategy, and a bloody traveler. Back in the game, the system congratulates Luli for completing the task of killing 1,000 players and grants him a random reward, mythical earrings called divine earrings. These earrings give him the ability to change his appearance and provide passive talents like knowledge of other languages, enabling communication with various races such as humans, elves, and sirens. Luli contemplates the mythical equipment in his hand, recognizing its usefulness. The system further congratulates him on passing the finning competition and calculates his reward. He receives 1,000 points, levels up to 21, and learns a new skill called Sharp Blade, which enhances normal attacks by dealing 180% physical damage and ignoring 20% of the target's defense, with an added 20% chance to injure the target. As Luli steps through the portal and re-enters the arena, the crowd erupts in cheers. Quick loudly announces congratulations to Luli for completing the competition and achieving impressive results by defeating so many enemies. The turtle remarks that Luli is indeed worthy of the title Fungon Star. Spectators throw confetti and cheer with joy as the system notifies him that he has earned the Finnon Star achievement. Luli walks away from the scene, passing Wei Yu and Zhang Hui, who looks at him angrily. She comments with indifference that he has done well not to disgrace her, but Luli remains silent, standing motionless. The scene changes to Blood Moon City and the evolutionary blood pool, a place with fiery red waters and sharp rocks. Luli feels confused and wonders where they are, realizing this place wasn't part of the original game design. Wu Yue explains that the character Bloodclaw is still strong because of its powerful bloodline, even though its level has been adjusted. In front of the Blood Pool secret realm, Wu Yue explains that just like equipment can have different qualities, monsters can have different bloodlines that affect their power. Luli's bloodline is revealed to be the weakest. Luli starts to understand that this place is important for improving bloodline abilities, and Wu Yue confirms this idea. She tells Luli to jump into the blood pool, explaining that the skeleton's evolution depends on luck. Meanwhile, in another part of Blood Moon City, Zhuang Hai is upset because he lost a battle. He blames the Lion Clan for his failure and feels embarrassed. His advisor suggests that the situation might not be all bad, as the Lion Clan might respect Zhuang Hai more after seeing how hard he tried to defend them. Zhuang Hai stays angry and can't calm down. His advisor then offers a plan to regain their honor by indirectly provoking Wu Yue, since confronting her directly would be too difficult. Back at the blood pool, Wu Yue watches closely as Luli absorbs the power of the pool. Wu Yue sees potential in the skeleton's growth, but unknown to her, there are enemies plotting against her. Lady Wu Yu is approached by her soldiers, who bring a serious message. The city lord has sent a blood-red decree summoning her to the main city immediately. The decree is very important and demands quick action, with harsh consequences for anyone who disobeys. Even though the message is urgent, Lady Wu Yu stays calm. She hints that those who push her too far may face dangerous consequences, like falling rocks from the nearby mountains. The soldiers understand her power and plead for her cooperation. Despite the seriousness of the summons, Lady Wu Yu remains focused on her task. She keeps the soldiers waiting, leaving everyone uncertain about what will happen next. She looked towards the bloody lake where Lo Ai was now, waiting for something. She sat down on a stone, which greatly surprised the guards who were following her. The main man turned around and looked at her in disbelief. He called her name and asked what she was doing, but she ignored him, thinking that it was a beautiful sight from where she was. One of the men who had carried out the assassination attempt on Luli swung his weapon as he fell and said that he would do it himself. He delivered a strong blow with his weapon to the huge ball of energy that contained their target. The large ball of energy burst, and all the people standing next to it looked at it in shock. The ball of energy collapsed, and they saw Luli, who had been inside. One of the men with daggers looked at it and asked if they had succeeded or not. The man standing next to him doubted it and said it seemed so. Suddenly, someone shouted that they should stop talking and grab their weapons. They all immediately ran towards Luli, who had emerged from the ball of energy. He had taken on a human body, with a horn on his forehead, and looked at his hand as strong energy swirled around him. Two men, not far from him, were surprised by what they had just witnessed. One of them was about to warn the others to be careful, but before he could finish, Luli, moving incredibly fast, cut off both their heads. The leader of the gang was shocked by what he had seen and asked in disbelief how this was possible. He shouted loudly that the information they had was wrong, and that they must all attack together. On his orders, a crowd of people immediately ran towards Luli, ready to engage him. Luli stands still and calmly watches them as they simultaneously deliver their blows. He manages to jump back and dodge the attacks. Several of the attackers suddenly find themselves with holes in their bodies, shocked by the unexpected turn of events. Luli, with a firm grip, squeezes the hearts he just tore out with his bare hands. The head of the Shadow Squad, furious at what just transpired, charges towards him with a loud cry. He uses his Shadow Blade skill, launching a flurry of rapid strikes, but Luli dodges each one with ease. The leader, enraged, swings his weapon, now brimming with strong energy, vowing to kill him. Luli, with a calm expression, smiles slightly and chuckles. This unnerves the leader of the Shadow Squad, and as he approaches closer, he suddenly finds himself jumping back with his arm torn off. Gripping his remaining hand over the wound, blood pours out. Luli stands in the same place, holding the severed arm. The head of the Shadow Squad pauses, glaring at his opponent in disbelief. He thinks to himself that the information they had was incorrect. This man is far too strong. Despite the immense pain, he resolves to kill Luli at any cost. His mind flashes back to a moment in the past when someone told him and his squad that they were the pride of Master Zhan Yue and the Northern Moon Temple. Their mission was vital, and it was their duty to fulfill it as a representation of their master's will. The glory of the Blood Moon was with them. Determined, the leader screams in fury and uses a secret technique. He calls over the remaining members of the squad and urges his brothers to complete the task at any cost. They all use the blood sacrifice technique, impaling themselves with their own weapons while chanting that the glory of the Blood Moon is with them. Their energy surges and is redirected to their leader. He now walks slowly toward Luli, emanating this newfound power, declaring that Luli must die. Luli stands still, calmly observing. The leader, now powered by the sacrificial energy of his comrades, swings his weapon, charged with immense force, and prepares to strike a devastating blow. Luli, with lightning speed, rushes towards him. However, as he closes the distance, half of the leader's body begins to revert into a skeletal form. The head of the Shadow Squad smiles, looking at him and grinning. He strikes very hard with his sword, releasing his energy. Luli leans down and dodges the attack. Immediately after, he moves closer and deals a strong blow to the neck with his dagger, surprising his opponent. The severed head of the Shadow Squad leader flies away, and his energy dissipates. Luli wonders what just happened. At the same time, someone watches him from afar, observing how Luli defeated the leader of the Shadow Squad. Wu stands next to the observer, clapping at what she saw. "That wasn't bad," she says. "It seems the fun young competition has left its mark on you." Luli turns to her and asks, "Were these Zhan Yue's people?" Wu confirms that he understood correctly. Those who wanted to kill him and take her away were indeed Zhan Yue's men. Luli asks where they wanted to send her, but Wu, with a calm demeanor, replies that the consequences of their actions are visible not far from this place. "I've already sent them somewhere," she adds. Loi approaches her and asks, "Did you lure them out on purpose? Is this the second test for me?" Wu does not answer directly. Instead, she looks at him with a small smile, her gaze drifting to what's between his legs. Embarrassed, Loi quickly covers himself with his hands. Wu grows angry, asking why he's hiding. "Remove your hands," she orders. Smiling slyly, she tells him he can ask for whatever he wants and she will fulfill his every wish. Loi, still flustered, says that he wants to ask about someone. He looks at her seriously and utters the name, Han Yixiao. Wu closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. She seems prepared and says that he left a long time ago. Perhaps he has already died. They stand silently for a moment, the wind carrying a stream of dust between them. Loi asks again, his voice serious, "What happened to him?" Wu looks at him and responds, "That's your second question." She notices him clenching his fist in anger and feels pity for him. Gently, she tells him that she can reveal what happened, but he must answer her first. She recalls what transpired before, explaining how ever since Loi heard about Han Yixiao at the competition, he often glanced her way. She realized then that he was showing his best side, all in a bid to get close to her and learn more about her student. "It's for him, isn't it?" she asks. Loi confirms that Han Yixiao is his older brother. He is overcome by memories of his distant childhood in a social security institution. In his mind, he sees several boys laughing loudly. One of them holds a pink rabbit toy in his hand. The boy standing in the middle shows off the rabbit, laughing and urging them to keep playing. A younger boy trembles in fear, asking them to return the rabbit as it was a gift from his mother. Loi, already beaten and bruised, stands in front of the young boy to protect him. One of the boys mockingly repeats the younger boy's plea, while another throws a book Loi was holding aside and taunts, still pretending to be a hero. The boy in the middle continues to laugh, gripping the rabbit by its paws. He sneers at Loi and the others, saying, "This is an orphanage. My mother adopted all of you, but you're nothing more than trash." He rips the paws off the toy rabbit and declares, "Everything here belongs to me, and I can do whatever I want with it." The younger boy begins to cry, pleading for the toy. Suddenly, behind the backs of these three guys, someone jumps in their direction, swinging some kind of stick and screaming loudly to attract their attention. This guy takes a really hard swing at the head of the guy who tore the legs off a toy bunny with a broom. He throws hard punches at the three evil guys, and they can't do anything to stop him. The guy who broke the toy bunny admits he made a mistake and asks to be rescued. The guy with the broom lets them go, and after that, they run away, loudly calling for their mother. The guy with the broom picks up the pink bunny, turns around, and says everything is fine now. Al looks at him with strong admiration and says he's cool. Luli looks at him in disbelief and asks who he is and why he helped them. He tells them if they ever have problems, they should just smile, and everything will go away. From now on, he will protect them, and no one will bully them again. Luli, in the present, says Han Yixiao is the closest person to him, like family. Wu Yu, deep in thought, remembers something from the past. She recalls Han Yixiao calling her master and smiling as he asked if she could give him an ordinary weapon. He also had two younger brothers, and as an older brother, he should give his best to them. Wu Yu, with a thoughtful expression, says the word Purgatory. Wu said she had searched for him for a long time, but eventually discovered that the last place he was seen was in Purgatory. Luli, knowing his location, tried to explain further, but was cut off as Wu Yu realized something important. Wu Yu insisted that she couldn't teleport to Purgatory because that world was blocked by an unknown force. Luli pondered this, noting that if even she couldn't get there, it truly must be inaccessible. He called upon his elf assistant, who promptly appeared beside him. Luli asked her to check the information on Purgatory, and the elf responded that she would investigate immediately. However, some interference prevented her from accessing the data, and the system alerted them of a rejection or an error. Perplexed, Luli inquired if there was a problem, and the elf informed him that his current access level didn't permit him to query the database. Luli then switched to manual input mode, confusing Wu Yu, who watched him converse with the system. Luli stared at the system window that had appeared in front of him and decided to focus. If Purgatory was the last place his brother was seen, it was likely where he could uncover the truth. The system prompted Luli to enter a password. He keyed it in and clicked Continue. Instantly, an endless stream of binary code surrounded him. The system notified him that he needed to retrieve the Purgatory code, and Luli, startled, questioned what this code could be. Before he could process further, the system detected an illegal intrusion and activated the closure protocol. Luli ordered the system to open the original code, but the red warning windows persisted. As he questioned the possibility of the original code being rewritten, the system began forcibly expelling him. The system windows disappeared one by one, much to Luli's disbelief. Wu Yu, who stood next to him, explained that was all she knew. If he didn't believe her, he could investigate it on his own. Luli considered her words carefully, realizing that Purgatory held the key. He approached her, asking how he could reach that world. The elf assistant, with a mischievous smile, told him that she knew how to return to the game world.